things you're going to need for this are a plastic container. These are cheap. I just had this one extra. It's kind of missing thing. No big deal there. These are perfect for that. You can also use them to store a whole bunch of stuff in them. What? Yeah, I know, right? Going back to this. So this I got in a kit for a GoPro whole setup type deal. And I've never used it, never needed it, but should work perfectly for now because it can actually swivel in all the different directions that I want it to. So that should work perfect for this. Next you're going to need, this is optional at this point, but it's a switch, and I just had it. I'm kind of a hoarder with any kind of electronic stuff. If something breaks around the house and I can't fix it, then I'll usually tear it apart and scavenge whatever I can. This is ridiculously old, I don't know, 12 years old or so, but LED light for on, I can wire that in series with the switch so I can know when it's on off, all that fun stuff. So just a standard on off switch. Things that you will actually need, a double pull double throw switch. Now this one I got from wherever I got it from, so that will remain unnamed, but this will be one direction, this will be the other direction, and then if I want to add other servos later for more control, I can actually add that with this guy. But at least a double pull double throw switch, because the wiring has to reverse the polarity in order to get the servo to move the other way back. And switches are cheap, you guys know, all that fun stuff. A battery pack. Now my servo is rated for 6 volts, which I'm not sure if it actually says on here, and it doesn't, but it does say on the box right here. So on the box right here, 6 volts. So AA battery, 1.5 volts times 4, that it would be 6 volts. So 6 volts, and then the battery case I got from a local electronic supply store. Not a big deal there. Was about $1, I want to say, $1, maybe $2. I don't know, not enough to break the bank or anything. 45 cents to adapt this guy to this, or I could have just wired one in, but for 45 cents, save the time. Then you're going to need as many third hands as you want. These things I think I picked up for $2 each, and they're pretty cheap, nothing special, but third hands. If you want more, then you're gonna need more. If you don't, then that's fine. And also a mounting plate to mount your third arm and servos to, so this will actually be what is controlled and moved, all that fun stuff. But that is pretty much it, I think. Oh, and the servo was a little over $14 after tax, so not a big deal there. All of this is relatively cheap. This came in a kit, and the kit I think was $30, and also came with a whole bunch of other things, just a real cheap knockoff, not name brand anything at all, on Amazon. Not sure how much an individual one of these would cost, but should be just fine. The whole build should be quite cheap across the board. But we are going to be starting with this now. This piece right here does not allow the servo to mount evenly flush at all. So I'm going to have to buzz that off with a Dremel. So yeah, let's get to that. And my Dremel's not working. 1 second. There's an on-off switch to these things. What? Now that that's all flush and there is plastic particles everywhere, I'm glad I kept the speed right though, so it didn't actually yeah, that'll work fine. Didn't actually melt it and start that horrible plastic burning smell, all that fun stuff. Now that this is done and good and nice, throw that to the side. Next thing we're going to have to do is rewire this, because instead of buying an analog one, I bought a digital one, so it needs a signal, but I don't want to be wiring a computer and then programming the computer in order to get this to move left and right. That's not a big deal at all for me. I just need to find my screwdriver. There it is. So now, if you haven't done any of these, and if I can learn to use screwdriver, we have screwed before, I promise. Yeah, but if you haven't ever worked on one of these before, they are pretty simple. Analog ones are much more simpler than this. But as soon as I get this apart, I will show you how all this works in here, or at least give you an idea of how this works. I am no servo expert, that is for sure. And I guarantee you I don't have the right numbered bit for this, so it's just slipping constantly. I have to use way too much pressure in order to get this to come down. Out, off, down. I don't know. Don't judge me. Anywho, going back to it. Alright, so this guy is off, and as you can see here, this back plate will pop right off. Now, this is a little micro computer in here that takes your signal, which would be your yellow wire, and converts it to tell it, the servo, where to turn, how to turn, zero, all that fun stuff. We don't need that at all. So what we're going to be doing is taking off these 3 wires and then wiring them directly to these 2 points right here. We're going to be taking the red and the black, moving them over to here. So we're just going to bypass basically the entire computer. You could technically take this computer out, unsolder it from the actual motor, and just wire directly to the motor. You can do it however you want to do it. This is not needed, technically. So let's clip these off with my super awesome, and all this is falling off the table. That's awesome. Dice, which are not dice at all, they're needle nose. I know that, but my good tools are at work. So these come off, then we can technically try to separate this one from these two. If I can. Nope, wrong one. Stupid fingers. Alright. Yay. All the way back to the end. Now we can cut off this because this is no longer needed. I have nothing to plug it into, but I'm going to save it just in case I ever want to use it. So a little bit of slack. You can save stuff. Because I'm a hoarder. That's what happens. Alright, so now that you have these, then take these, strip these back, and before we actually solder this on to here, we need to take this and take this off so we can remove the front plate. Remove the front plate. Let's use full words here. Talking out loud. Yay, word commentary, showing you what I'm doing. So now, this guy, let's see if we can take this apart without destroying this whole thing. So we are going to need to get rid of this piece right here. This is your potentiometer. This is what tells it to stop because it is at 0, or a full turn. So it'll say stop, cut the signal, and reroute it so that it doesn't blow out all your gears. But with this gone, let's see if we can actually turn this guy a little bit to where we can grab it better. I don't have flush cuts. That is not going to work at all. So, back to the and we're also going to have to take off this tab right here as well. Beautiful. Let's kill that noisy little SOB. So now that both of those are gone, this thing will actually be able to spin a full. Yep, that's where it sits. Just double checking. This goes on later. This goes on going down. Try to remember how to put this thing back together, right? Usually helps from time to time. And then this guy holds everything down. I guess. I have no idea. Spacer, washer, I don't know. Thought it actually held this gear down, but I guess that's what this whole thing does. So now that that is removed, let's put this back on here to hold that piece on. That is not going to matter which way it's faced. See, now this screwdriver works very well for this screw. Nice and snug. And let's get to soldering these 2 points. That'll do. Now we can take this and this. Let's remove that so it doesn't go flying. And basically just, good thing they applied a whole ridiculous amount of solder to these. So I don't really have to add too much. Come on now. Here we are. Felt it drop in. Nice and toasty. See, that's what I want to be using, that little bulb right there. There we go. Get rid of that sharp point. That wire's getting hot. Need a little bit of flux, but I am actually all out. So we'll just do this the hard and dirty way. Extra heat. Stay. Ow! All right, so now that that is there, we're gonna need that. I don't have a station for this guy. So it's basically just safely propping it up, hoping it doesn't melt everything. Oh, all right, now we can put this back together. So let's get to that. And I have a little bit of the hiccups right now, but I can usually make those go away with just thinking about the fact that I have hiccups. And they're gone. Don't know why that works or how that works. Get this whole thing put back together. I'll show you that it has a full 360-degree rotation now. Instead of like the 190 it had. It was a little bit over 180. I'm not sure exactly what. I'm sure the little directions in the box would tell me, but that requires reading. Nobody likes reading. Well, I don't. Some people do. I see people reading shit all the time. But nope. I'm a visual person, I guess it explains that. But I'm probably going to fast forward through all this so you guys don't need to see all this crap. Good. So now you can see that this motor now has a full 360-degree rotation. Starts to bind up, but nice good wind to it. All right, so let's move on to this. Now, this is pretty simple. What I plan on doing is separating these guys, kind of like an Oreo, except for it broke. But should still work. A little bit of super glue fixes everything. Let's run this thing through. run you through to about where you should be. Let's see if we can match the brokenness in here. Hey, look at that. All right, so now I want to run this here. There we go. That looks like it should work just fine. And apply. God, super glue lasts forever. You just keep going with it until it plugs up, and then you're gonna have to break off your tip. We'll see if that does it. There we go. Nice little generous amount there. I'm worried about this plastic though, because this plastic has like an oily texture to it. So I'm not quite sure how well that might bond or not bond, but we are going to find out very quickly. And it bonded pretty well. And sorry about the phone ringing. Quite unprofessional. But yeah, look at that. So now we have full coverage across it to move it in any way we need to. And a nice platform. Aluminum's a great heat sink. Alright, sorry about that odd little cut I had to do right there. Got a phone call, but it actually seemed to have bonded quite well. Surprisingly well, actually, given the material. Now, let's grab the other one. Same thing. Rinse and repeat. Cool, that one didn't break. So I think I'm going to go opposite. No, not going opposite. Same side. Right back into where it was. Ish. DIY with ishes and ums. Best commentary skills ever. Alright. So once again, that's in place. Actually, let's get the bend right on it first real quick. So get you unstuck from there. And then super glue time. Another generous amount. Did I put my, no, wait. No, good. Did I put my thumb in it? I just smeared it everywhere. And bam, look at that. Mirrored. So now I basically have all this to work with. Probably should have done this first, thinking about it now. So I actually have a little bit of a well, third and fourth hand to do wiring. So now that this is on and stable, flat, all that fun stuff, let's see. We can mount the servo. How do I want to mount this servo? Let's see if I can. Get you zeroed and fit you in right there. Now that should hold pretty well. I'm just curious if I should drill a pilot hole so that I can access that. I don't think it's that necessary. So, super glue, apply. Let's grab the cap. We are going to be attaching. Dang it. All right. Well, now that this is all nice, properly secured, all heavy duty like, we are going to be cutting out semicircles out of this. I might weaken some of the structural integrity on these, but I might have to sneeze. I did. All right. But that shouldn't be too fun. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Now, if I see the throw hits here, so if I overshoot that, semicircle should come out beautiful. And back to the grind. Nice. Nice. Definitely not pretty, but it works. That is all I really care about. Oh yeah, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So, let's mount this to this. That should be pretty easy. Just a ridiculous amount of super glue, proper angle. And we probably want to mount this to that guy, which has everything plugged into it, so that's not going to happen right now. So, see if we can get this to actually stick. Hopefully it will. It won't be like the other side of the servo. Oh no, it's gluing back together. All right, glue. Always a generous amount. And then it's pretty darn center. So we're just going to let that sit like that. Hopefully that works. We shall see. Man, we got good coverage. This is going to take a while. So, cut. All right, and it seems to be on there pretty solid, which is quite awesome. Yeah, right about there. Seems to be good. Too bad that won't stick to the surface I'm working on, but is what it is. So now, we can take our positive wire, see if we can get all these to work the way we're hoping them to. Which is now one less thing to hold. And then we got our soldering iron. Where's our tiny bit of this? Let's not burn that. All right. So there's a decent tin. Ooh, put that there. All right, good. Now, our battery bank, which we can just hold on to like this and bring this wire down and around. Actually, let's move this guy all the way over here. Get the black wire out of the way and a red wire. See, this is where a third one would, or yeah, a third hand, fourth, fifth hand, however you want to call it, would come in to be useful. But it is what it is. So we are going to have to make this work. believe I have enough solder on these two, so I should only need to heat. Oh, nope. Bam! There we are. There is that one. So that one is done. Then we can jump. Ooh, forgot to figure out which one's a positive and negative on the LED, because that actually does matter. 90% of this other stuff does not matter. It'll only change your direction. 90%, I want to say. But we need to figure out which one's positive and which one's negative. So let's grab a battery. And we'll put the red on the positive, because they are red and blue, I get that. But if you do not wire them up correctly, it will not work. Across the board, just will not happen. And then we're gonna flip, try this. I don't even think I have enough juice. Let's try hooking these guys back up. We're gonna take this off and this off. Move you over there. Good, all right. So, bam. Unless that LED's fried, and then I'll be null and void. All right, so let's go blue to black and red to red. Boom, LED light comes on. All right, so that will work. So red is going to now attach to here. See if we can get these to go anytime now. Hold there, bring this over, solder this too. All that's gonna come apart. Dang it. All right, at least it caught for a second. We just don't want any tension under any of this. That should be all right now. Whoop. Come on now. Yes, definitely my worst soldering job ever. But let's try this now. And we do not need power. What are we doing? All right, so let's get a little bit of this with this securely placed down. And then let's do this and this. Why not just glob it on, right? The more the merrier. It's coming apart, don't do that. Gently. God, that wire's getting hot. And flawless, minus that wire burning, that wire not being attached. Alrighty then, let's try this a third time. What? Why? I keep bending you this direction and you keep coming back. Ow! All right. Wires all securely secured. Now, leave that there. Whoa. All right, just a dog in the backyard. Sorry, big shadow just went across. I don't know if you guys actually caught that or not, but quite terrifying. All right, so tinning. Beautiful. Not correct tinning, but tinning nonetheless. Alright guys, so here is the final verdict on how to wire this double pull, double throw momentary switch up. So what you're going to want to do is this wire and this wire over here are going to be running to your servo. So you're going to put the positive on one side, the negative on the other. And then coming from your battery, you're going to run it to this pole right here. So this one's actually running to your switch, which is coming from your battery. So that's your positive. And then your negative is going to be attached to this one right here. And then you're going to want to do a cross, as you can see here that I've done. So negative all the way over to this side, and then positive all the way over to this side. And that is so when you throw this switch, it goes from your battery to your switch over to here, and then when you throw it in one direction, it's going to loop to the positive side of your servo. And then from there, it's going to connect these two over here, which is negative to your battery and negative side of your servo, completing that circuit. And then when you throw it in the other direction, you're going to be going from this side, yeah, so you're going to be, where am I at real quick? There we are. So this one is your positive one running up and over, so it's going to be going positive through to your negative side of your servo, reversing the polarity, and then coming back in through here to this one right here, and then running from here to your battery. So that's pretty much it. I know that's probably the worst soldering job I've probably ever done, but I need to get a better soldering iron because it is tough getting it in those tight spots. But it will work for what I'm doing. So that is that, and then I'm gonna put it all into the box, all wired up, all trying to lay the wires as nice as possible and end it in that route. So that's what I'll be doing. All right, now here it is. Switch on. So as you're going, let's say wire whatever, and you're like, oh no, I need to move this. Simple, quick little turn. It's all yours. You can also adjust it all the way down here and be working right here, right in front of you. Bloop. Move these guys around, do whatever you need to. It's all easy, all there. But that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Later.